gotta make sure I don't drop anything, though.
Yeah, we're doing things. Yeah. Hey! Hello!
Oh.
Welcome back to Total Spotfest. JJ Brownlee, Jamie Faulkner, and look who we have returning here. The one, the only, Mr. Austin Reddick. Welcome back, Austin.
Glad to be back, gentlemen.
We missed you.
Do you have air conditioning?
I do. I do. They finally came out and fixed it. It was actually, so we tried to go through the home warranty, and they're like, cool, we can get someone out here in like a week. And I was like, I will pay extra. And I called some company around the corner, and they got a guy out there like the next day. And now it's a nice, brisk 68 degrees in the house, which is much preferable to the 92 degrees it was last Wednesday when I decided I would not be very helpful on the show.
I mean, talk about bad timing for AC going out, you know? I mean,
and that was within a week of us getting the water heater replaced, and we went from like not having cold or hot water for a week to not having AC. And I kind of wish they would have overlapped, because those cold showers would have been perfectly fine if it was still sweltering in here.
Ugh.
The joys of home ownership.
Yay, adulting! Jamie, how have you been? I know you had a softball thing over the weekend, but you know, your massive load has lightened up lately. How things been for you?
That's what she said.
Oh!
Yeah. Sorry, couldn't help it. That was a layup there. No, actually, life's been pretty good. I mean, work's been hectic, but life is good. Might go see some wrestling on Saturday. Who knows?
Very well might. And it might feature somebody that's on this dais right here. Maybe.
Not this guy. Not this fat guy. Though I should be a manager, because I think I could get some heel shit, but that's fine. That's a different time.
I think you could.
I think so.
Oh, you could.
I think I'm just naturally a dick, so it's like, hey, let's make this happen.
You could absolutely pull that off. Come on, man. Like not even trying, and you could pull that off. So,
Yeah.
well, thank you guys for watching. Thank you for listening. We do appreciate you guys giving us some of your time here. If this is your first time here, hello and welcome. We're going to get into Dynamite, Collision, a little bit of everything going on here. We might get a little knowledge thrown in there. Austin's going to actually go into our chat and send Jamie a number because we forgot to do that before the show started.
I have a number.
Oh,
I have a number.
You have a
Cool,
number.
And yes, the number this time, you guys are participating this time because no one ever responds.
Come on, guys. Jamie works hard, and this is not just a total Spotfest thing. Jamie works hard on movies. Jamie is a cinephile of all, especially for horror, but in general cinephile.
Oh, October's gonna be bad. Just FYI.
Oh, fuck me.
Yes.
And you're roped into this now, Austin, so be forewarned. So anyway, we're going to participate this week, but definitely chime in. If you're watching live, chime in the chat. If not, put it down in the comments. Try and guess the number of movie quotes that Jamie does. Okay?
Last week it was 13.
It was
Crushed it.
It was supposed to be 10 last week.
No, what? Wait. No, last week was... Hold on, I have it.
We are professional, guys.
10. Yes, it was 10.
I was going to say, I was like...
It was 10.
10.
10.
A fucking 10. All right.
Okay.
So,
10.
Austin, so you debuted this past week?
2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago.
About 10 days ago or so.
Yeah.
Week and a half.
Dubs.
It's all. What is time, right? It's a flat circle. A week and a half ago with CSW. How was your first CSW match?
Aside from getting tossed around by a giant of a man, it was a good time. I enjoyed Central States Wrestling. Looking forward to getting back. Nice, solid crowd. People were super into it. Got to see a couple guys I hadn't run into in a while. My old tag team partner Moonshine Mantell's over there, and yeah,
That's awesome.
And yeah, it's continued on my year-long never-ending cycle of fighting the Howlets. It seems to happen all the time.
You know, some people are just born to do some things, and clearly you were born to fight the Howlets.
Apparently, it's me and Hoodie have thrown hands many times this year already, and there are one of which is this Saturday. I'll be in a tag team match against the Howlets at Heartland Championship Wrestling. So,
Who's your partner?
Tommy Too Good. Not very well known. He's only about a year in.
Okay.
Trained by Billy Simmons, formerly of XWE, now Heartland Championship Wrestling. But yeah, I've been going out to train, working with a bit. I personally have always preferred tag team wrestling. It's always been what I enjoy, so it's nice to be getting some tag matches in again and bringing a member of the younger generation up a little bit, seeing as I think about 12 years older than him, but somehow I still end up taking as many bumps. I thought that would cut down having a younger tag team partner, but I still am the one that gets thrown around all the time.
Right, I mean, he's the rook. He should definitely be taking the bumps.
You would think, but no, I always just end up bumping. I've had like 5 different tag team partners, and I always end up being the person that's thrown around the entire time.
That sucks. That sucks. Well, speaking of tag teams, I think that's a nice segue. Your lovely wife is in a tag team, and she's been awfully busy this week.
She has. She is, well, all of last week, she was in LA for WoW tapings, and all next week she will be as well, doing her other tag team shit. And then Friday night in Denver, she'll be tagging with Warhorse in the main event of Triple L. So yeah, a lot of tag team action going on.
I mean, that's so perfect, really. Warhorse is in 2 outstanding tag teams at the moment.
Yeah,
You know,
like his one with Camaro.
it's so good. It's so good.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. Yeah, you got Triple L Friday. Hopefully you're not going against Filter again.
No, she is
Maddox, sorry.
actually.
Yeah, she is.
Yeah.
So he's Maddox here, but Filter there, right? I gotta get used to the name change.
Yes. Yeah, so he's Maddox out here. I believe he is slowly transitioning to being Maddox everywhere. Fun little story that will actually somewhat tie into a potential stash of knowledge later,
Ooh.
because
Mm,
I I have gone back and watched some older stuff, but not as old as '96, and I've got some thoughts on a notable booking personality in the history of pro wrestling, Mr. Vince Russo.
Oh.
So a filter came up at Rocky Mountain Pro, and they debuted him to basically be Russo's muscle. And Vince Russo thought because people always told him he needed a filter, he would just call his giant muscle filter. And then that didn't last long before Russo just left Rocky Mountain Pro, and then he was just kind of stuck being filter from there. So I think he's moving away to
Dude,
Dorian Maddox.
Just growing away.
That
Yeah,
sounds
that's
I wrestled a decade and then changed my name because a handsome Samoan gentleman from WWE took the same last name I was using, and I guess he had a better claim to it. But,
Uso? Just kidding.
Joe? No.
Austin Uso.
the other Samoan named Joe.
Okay. All right.
His real name's Joe.
Real name, Joe.
Yes.
I think you should have kept
annoying,
it. I think you should have kept going with it, and then like especially now, like played like the Wish.com tribal chief sort of bit, right? You know,
Like Gilbert.
I feel like that would border into cultural appropriation and get me canceled.
that's a good point. That's a very good point. Yes,
That's 100% fair.
I don't think I could pass off as Samoan.
Well, let's run as fast as we can away from cultural appropriation and into Collision from this past week. Jamie and I have been pontificating quite a lot. Now we talked last time you were on here, Austin. We were talking about how much we like Collision, right? It's got a good flow to it. You know, the whole interview at the beginning part you talked about, right? You know, it's got that old Saturday Night Main Event sort of feel to it. The announcing, everything about it. And Jamie and I just been pontificating about it even more. So this past week, I felt was a good a good run of it. It wasn't like as hot an episode as probably in the past few weeks, which is fine.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we talked about Dynamite. You don't have to knock it out of the park every goddamn week, but it was enjoyable. For me, the highlight was simple to hit, I guess. But the highlight was FTR, another good tag match, right? Defending the titles. And
They don't have good matches.
Say what?
They don't have bad matches. Just
Never.
That's it.
Not since they were the Revolution.
Good story.
I mean, you know, or whatever they were in
The
WWE.
revival, dude. The revival.
I forget. It's been
Dude,
it's been
even
a
as
minute.
NXT revival had like nothing but bangers. Then main roster revival was getting like icy hot in their jock straps, and
Jamie was at that particular show.
were you?
Yeah.
You were a seat
that-
filler at that show.
That one hurt me right in the heart, seeing my boys done dirty like that.
That was the first time that I skipped a wrestling show when Jamie and me were planning on going to it. I was like, I'm not going to go. This product is terrible. And he's like, it's free tickets. We're seat filling. And I'm like, not going. He's like,
Dude,
to
even-
yourself,
even
buddy.
free
And then
tickets-
they did that, and I felt totally redeemed. I'm like, all right.
I can't do WWE TV, even for free tickets. Pay-per-view or house show, sign me up. I'll go watch. But like the TV is such a slog to sit through. It's just a couple minutes of wrestling, commercial break, 30 minutes of in-ring segments, commercial break, couple minutes of wrestling, commercial break. It's too much.
No, it's crazy. So
With no pay.
the revival, I'm sorry. But what I loved about it was afterwards, they get on the mic, call out the Young Bucks. We'll put a stamp up here right there. Call out the Young Bucks for All In. Let's just finish the trilogy. Rubber match, All In, Young Bucks FTR. Let's freaking go.
It's not going to be the end of it.
Well, no, but
Like, not even in that month.
You don't think so?
Hell no.
a week later.
Absolutely. Have that same thing on American soil. And, oh, I don't know. Let's throw a gimmick match at it. 2 out of 3 falls.
I could see that, I would imagine that All Out a week later, I could see it still involving FTR and the Bucks, but as well as like one or two other teams. Like I could see them doing a big multi-tag or something a week
Lulu
after.
Dallas multi-pass. Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I could definitely see that. But I definitely feel like it's going to be some kind of gimmick match. They're not going to end it there. FTR is going to retain there, and I think they would lose it on American soil.
Well,
Because there's another big belt that's going to get lost on out there. I have thoughts.
I was gonna say this for later, but you guys set me up too perfectly for it, so let's segue right into this. I want both of your opinions. What the hell are we booking for All Out? Like, is it going to be just a follow through of All In? Is it going to be something completely off the wall? You threw that out there, Austin, that it might be, it makes sense to do something completely off the wall. Is it going to be booked like a regular amount of time has passed and they're going to have like, what do you guys think they're going to do for All Out booking wise? Like book it in succession with All In or what?
I mean, obviously the next couple weeks of TV are going to give us a better idea, but they really haven't addressed All Out. I imagine you're going to get 2 of the 4 women in the women's championship match in a singles at All Out. That's kind of an easy transition. Probably where is All Out Chicago or is that somewhere
Chicago?
else?
No, always Chicago. United Center this time. It's actually in Chicago proper this time.
So I could see I wouldn't be surprised if MJF and Cole weren't on that show. If whatever happens at All In, the fallout, they're not on there. I could see Punk being on top with it being in Chicago and with the whole gimmick of the straight edge title he's got or whatever. But yeah, I'm actually surprised this close, we're a month out, that not even less than a month out, they really haven't given much indication. There's probably going to be a Casino Battle Royale or one of the giant donut ladder matches or whatever it is or the poker chip they pulled down. I think a lot. I actually wouldn't be sad if All Out wasn't just heavy on gimmick and stipulation matches, just as a good last minute week long blitz of like, hey, we just got you really invested in stories for this show. Here's a bunch of fun shit. Please give us $40 more of your money, and I will if it's. I'll probably anyway. AEW pay-per-views, they really don't miss. So like whatever they do, I'm sure it'll be an enjoyable night of wrestling.
Could be worth the money for sure. Jamie,
Yeah.
what are your thoughts?
All right, here we go.
He's settling in, ladies and gentlemen. Look out.
The official card of All Out. I'm calling it now. Your main event will be a title unification match between Adam Cole and CM Punk. That's right.
I like that.
Okay.
Then you're going to have Chris Statlander defending her title against returning Jade Cargill to get that.
Okay.
Then you have the new women's champion, Saraya, because they can't not do that.
Cheap pop.
Going up against Sheeta, and I'd put Sheeta over. But just definitely not Britt. Then you have the tag team shenanigans. I think it's going to be Bucks, and you have actually no Bucks. Sorry, no Bucks because you have CM Punk there. They will not be in the same building together. So
They're going to be in England.
Yeah.
He's not on. He hasn't signed on to a match yet. CM Punk yet, right?
I
I haven't seen anything.
Samoa Joe.
Yeah, is it Punk versus Joe and All In? I thought that was not. You sure?
I don't know if it's been
I don't think
I don't
officially
think
added.
Punk hasn't
But I
officially
thought-
accepted. I don't think as of this recording, but
See,
that's
Might be right.
that's Joe called him out and challenged him to give the people what they want in England. Finish the story. He said they're not going to not put Punk on.
Yeah, he'll absolutely be on.
Come on.
yeah. So, well, then in Chicago, I just feel like they're probably not going to have the Bucks there.
Okay,
So then
whatever.
you're going to have somebody else there. I say FTR versus the Hardys. I think that would be a good one for that moment, you know. I feel like that would be a good one. Or you have FTR acclaimed Hardys and then insert Lucha Bros or somebody like, not Lucha Bros because they're going to be in a three-way here in a minute. Three-way. Usually got paid double for that kind of action, Cotton. Then you have no Kenny Omega. Kenny Omega will not be on this because he's got his big match going up against Will Ospreay. I'm calling it now and all in. That's
It's got it.
easy.
Easy.
Easy to see there. So yeah, that's basically the card that I see. Oh, and the FTW Championship of RVD because I don't think London will let RVD in.
I don't think London will let RVD. So you're basically calling more or less a continuation of what happens at All In.
Stuff that doesn't need to get
through.
built. Stuff that doesn't necessarily need to get built up real quick.
Well, they can't build it up because
Yeah, but like if Jade Cargill shows up at All In, that's an easy setup for All Out. You know what I mean? And then right after Adam Cole wins, here comes CM Punk face to face. There you go. Easy to set up. Tune in on Sunday of next week. You know.
right.
I feel like it's easy. It's easy to set those up because those tickets have already sold themselves because they know they're going to get something amazing. So that's where I would go. I would do that kind of setup as more of a continuation.
It just
Keep
is
the
very
buys high.
It's very interesting. Like the fact that it's a week apart is just still
Dumb.
Still, yeah. We're still in my craw too. It's still just dumb. All Out is basically their WrestleMania, right? And then you put in a bigger show right in front of it for obvious reasons, right? You get Wembley, you take it, and who cares when it is? But why wouldn't you? I like the idea of making it just off the wall, like you said. Give us 3.5 hours of
Wheel
fun.
of Death. The Wheel of Death. Oh,
Yeah, Wheel of
yes.
Death, random crapola left and right. I am for it, right? Have a one-night King of the Ring style something. King and Queen of the Ring something, right? I don't care.
Saying, if they hadn't burned it with the dumb blind eliminator tournament set up, they could have literally done a lethal lottery for All Out.
That'd have been
and that would have been
fabulous.
awesome.
Mm-hmm.
I do think
They won't do that, but I'd love to see that.
I know the talent have said they want to do it at All In, but I could see Andrade and Malachi Black being an All Out match. Because that's one you don't really need on the UK card. I think you'd be better off with a trios title defense there. But that's a good match you can hold off for that second show. That's still a draw, and any of your fans would want to see that.
Or do you do that and then do the trios championship on All Out of BCC versus
Andrade and
Blackpool.
Lucha? Oh, you mean BCC?
I'm thinking Blackpool Combat Club going against the House of Black, going against Lucha Party or Lucha Bros and Andrade.
See, I think the trios title match is better at All In when you've got this big international show. You're trying to pack
put
a bunch
more bodies in there, yeah.
And it can be a little bit more of just a crash test dummy, just spots everywhere, but keep it to a tight 12 or something and get out of there.
Yeah.
And then the next week on the show that you just kind of booked a week later for no reason, Andrade and Malachi Black is a good match to throw on that show that people will be hyped about, but not disappointed that it didn't happen on All In.
Yeah, good point.
Yeah.
Valid.
All In's almost like a spectacle of sorts, right? It's the most tickets that are going to be sold for an actual event, even though WWE would dispute that claim because they make up their own statistics, but whatever.
They make up a lot of things there.
There's a lot of things made up over there. Interesting. There is one match, though. There was one match that was officially booked for All Out. Darby Allin gets his TNT title shot.
That's right. Was that All Out or was that at All In?
All Out.
Okay.
Yeah, because All In, his match for that just got announced right after the show.
Which I have plenty of thoughts about that whole bit.
Because
Ooh.
I don't know if you knew this, JJ, and Austin, it's sign pointing season.
Yes, you caught that. And that was okay. That's one of my thoughts. One of the things I hate.
Dude, I died inside. I'm like, really? Of all people, you?
Yes. Doing the one of the stupidest things ever in wrestling. Like, it happens one time. Whatever. Okay, yeah, I go see him at WrestleMania. And then it's just like, no, don't.
Sign pointing season.
No, there's one acceptable time and place to do it, and it's whoever wins the Royal Rumble. Immediately after they win the Royal Rumble,
boom,
you get your sign point. Everyone else keeps their hands in their fucking pockets for the next 365 days until they may win the Royal Rumble next year. Like, that's the one guy that gets, guy and girl. We get both genders now.
We get two, but yeah.
Yes.
People get to point at the WrestleMania side. Those are the only ones.
No, we have our own sign now to point at. So there's
sign pointing season is full on in effect in AEW.
I get fired if I was like wrestling for WWE because I'd be walking backstage with like a little sign that just says like main event, and I'd just be pointing at it. Saturday Morning Slam or whatever the kids show they had for like a year ago. Like, I'd just be pointing at random signs like it's a WrestleMania sign, and they would fire my ass immediately.
I actually remember that. That was
a great
I would just be pointing at the directions to catering.
That's a
just standing there in the hallway pointing at catering.
Like your sign changes like based on conversations around you, right?
Oh, but it'd be like, it could be the greatest gimmick though. Like, hey, everybody, guess what? It's sign pointing season. Oh my god, this is amazing. And then like you're talking to somebody, just having this natural conversation with them, and you just go, hold on, and then you just point like there's catering, or the men's room.
But the payoff is that every time you try to point at a WrestleMania sign, somebody jumps you and beats you up because it's like you're not getting on the card. You know?
You become the Ruby Soho of that scenario.
Always got to trip just a little bit short.
You just digging. I know you're gonna dig into some stuff, but man, you start vicious tonight, Jamie. Jeez.
You know,
Hey,
some people got talents.
We are definitely wearing the wrong shirts, apparently, Jamie. We need to switch. So
Yeah.
anyway, CM Punk, Joe, like I said, you didn't.
I wore this shirt for Heather, by the way.
Not official, but it's going to be official. I did like also Mercedes Martinez getting a lot of Collision airtime, and I like seeing her and Diamante together. I like seeing Diamante on my screen. Diamante was a big boon for the company during the pandemic. The whole Evil East thing happened, which, hey, turns out that maybe she wasn't the problem. Who would have thought? You know? And once Evil East left, it kind of felt like Diamante just fell. But she's fantastic. She was great. She was great in TNA or Impact back then in LAX, right? She's been great everywhere she's been. So I think it's great she's getting more screen time. I like seeing that. And we're seeing different women on Collision. That's the part. Even though we're not getting a ton of matches, I mean, Diamante, Mercedes Martinez, you're seeing Willow. You know, it's like, come on. It's like,
yeah, I'm actually really looking forward to that tag team match of Willow and Stat going up against Diamante and Mercedes Martinez. Man, like, that sounds like just big meaty women slapping meat. You know, like, it just screams goodness. Yeah, I did that because Mercedes Martinez, she's a big lady, like, as in muscular, and so is Willow. So, and Chris Statlander. Then you have Diamante, who's chiseled. Like, that girl's got, like, chiseled.
You're fine. Let's run away from this right now. Okay.
Just have me dig this hole deeper, guys.
You could just stopped. You know. All right. What will dig you out of this hole? I think, Jamie, is getting a little bit of knowledge in you.
You know, I don't know if I want it in me, but I want it at least around me. Yeah, dude, I'm on one today. But, no, I think it's time, ladies and gentlemen, that we all behold the greatness that is Austin Reddick's dash of knowledge.
Yeah, yeah, I'm gonna put some knowledge on you.
Ooh.
I did tip my hand earlier on the stash of knowledge this week. Some thoughts on Vince Russo, and for a little backstory. Not last night, but the Tuesday before, I tuned into WoW Women of Wrestling on Vice TV and watched while the lovely Miss Howitzer was at the tapings. I saw WoW was on and was like, I'll watch this, which I enjoy WoW actually as a
So
fun
do I.
hour-long wrestling product. It is very like I've always said, my bread and butter is like 94 to 96 superstars. It's in that vein of just an hour story-based wrestling TV show that doesn't take itself too seriously. So if you have not watched WoW, I highly recommend it. You're not going to see a Kenny Omega versus Will Ospreay style match, but you'll see some fun gimmicks and some fun characters and just a solid little fun hour of wrestling. Um, but after WoW on Vice is Dark Side of the Ring, which I actually had not got around to watching yet. Any of it really.
Oh, any of them? Oh, wow.
Any of it. Well, so a big part of that is one, most of those stories and stuff I've heard in some, whether it's through podcasts or shoot
Right.
interviews and stuff.
Mhm.
I do need to eventually go back, but it's one of those things like, oh, that episode will look cool, but I've kind of already heard the stuff about it. Um, but this one, it rolled right into WoW, and it hooked me a couple minutes in because there was a little bit of an overrun, and it goes right to Jeff Jarrett speaking. And anytime Jeff Jarrett's speaking, I'm gonna listen. Um, and it was the episode talking about Bash at the Beach 2000.
Oh.
And I don't know if y'all caught that exact episode, but it's the whole gist of it is one, Hulk Hogan's a piece of shit, which we already knew. But the entire rest of the episode is basically Vince Russo just digging himself into a hole about how much of an idiot he was that night. Like, he's giving his whole side, and it'll cut to Eric Bischoff, and Barrett Bischoff's just like, yes, Hogan had creative control. There wasn't a decision to be made. That's what creative control is. We have to end up doing what he wants to do because it's in his contract. I don't know what the fuck Russo's talking about. And it keeps cutting back to Russo going, bro, I told him we'd do that, but then I was going to go out and do this instead, and I did it. And everyone else being interviewed is like, yeah, man, that's the problem. That's why that whole thing went awry. All that to say, after watching that episode and then going back and watching the pay-per-view itself, I decided to do the Lord's work and start watching 1999 WCW from the show Vince Russo takes over booking.
The tail end. Ooh.
It's I got a nice set of steam. I got Nitro and Thunder, and Russo starts on that Monday, and that next Sunday is Halloween Havoc 99. So I got Nitro, Thunder, Halloween Havoc 99 within the last week, and then I had to take a little bit of a break. And I am a person with an appetite for even bad pro wrestling that exceeds most others. And 3 shows deep, I was like, all right, I need like a week off because this is all this to say, Vince Russo is probably literally the worst person who is, like, talent-wise, has ever written a wrestling show in the history of pro wrestling because it is so bad. And quick aside, I have actually worked with Vince Russo in the past. I took over booking Rocky Mountain Pro when he left, but there was some overlap. As a human being and a person, delightful gentleman to have a conversation with. Real nice, personable guy.
Okay, yeah.
As far as having ideas for pro wrestling, you could have just drawn words out of a hat like you were doing a Mad Libs or something and thrown together a better show than Vince Russo ever would have booked. This first Nitro, every single match has at least one in, if not 2. But even better, it's either that Nitro or Thunder starts with Hoovy wrestling Evan Courageous. They wrestle for like 3 minutes, and this like kicks off the show. This is like the beginning of the Russo era of booking WCW. It starts, you got 2 cruiserweights in the ring. You're like, all right, a Hoovy match. I'll always watch it. Evan Courageous.
This
Give me
is
some
WCW,
special
yeah,
99.
sure.
Give me some of that. About 3 minutes in, Bret Hart storms down the ring with the microphone, gets into the ring, does not attack either of these gentlemen. They just stop wrestling, and Hoovy, Evan Courageous, and the ref watch Bret Hart cut a promo and then leave without ever really acknowledging them. And then they don't like continue the match. They don't address it. Just Hoovy, Evan Courageous, and the ref all just kind of walk away after that. They cut to commercial, jump right into the next segment. Then throughout the night, it's almost like the episode of The Simpsons where Homer gets cast as Poochie on Itchy and Scratchy, and he's trying to write it into where every time Poochie's not around, people have to be asking where Poochie is. The entire 3 hours of Night Show are just everyone commenting on Vince Russo showing up and writing the show. And throughout the 3 shows I've watched, I think the highlight has been Tony Schiavone low-key just trying to do his best to stay professional and not comment on how fucking stupid everything going on. It is a train wreck that I will forge on and continue. I may have some weekly updates on the world of 99 WCW.
It may take a little bit, huh?
Shit, is it bad?
So 99 was Goldberg's second run, right? Or third run?
So 98, I believe, is when Goldberg wins the title for the first time.
Yeah.
At the time I tuned in, Sting is the champion, and Goldberg's gearing up to fight Sid for the U.S. title at Halloween Havoc. Which Sid is there, which makes the show good in general. And also, Russo's first night is the night Jeff Jarrett jumps over from WWF and he re-debuts in WCW. So you get some Sid and Jarrett, it looks like it's going to be good, and everything else is just really bad. Oh, and Russo's first night on the job, Bret Hart taps out to Sting. So that's fun.
Of course.
Yeah.
And then in a matter of a few short months, I think you had Jarrett. We're not spoiling anything. This is
25 years
24 years ago. Wow.
Yeah.
God.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, 24 years ago.
24 years. Anyway, a few short months, you get Jeff Jarrett in the NWO, kind of leading.
Oh, yeah, because they do the NWO 2000 or whatever. They try and
they tried to do it again, and it got real weird, And it's just because in 2000 is when they fully folded.
2001, March 2001.
Okay, beginning of 2001, right?
Yeah. So that year, you had the Jeff Jarrett run. You had the DDP heel turn during that final year.
You had the David Arquette.
That was so bad. Yeah, David Arquette, Big Papa Pump, just going off the damn deep end. His roids were out of control at that point because he said some of the most scandalous stuff that didn't make sense.
It did lead to
in that time period.
It did create the seed for my future favorite Scott Steiner, though, the TNA Scott Steiner, because it just basically was the groundwork for that. But yeah.
Yeah, I remember. I used to love WCW. Because right after that is when Guerrero, Perry Saturn, Benoit, and Malenko all left. Right around that time.
Yeah, because that's October of '99, and I am 99% certain they are in WWF before 2000. So it's sometime the next month or two they ship as well.
They definitely were in before the whole
look now.
Shane
Jericho had just left at the time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a wild time in pro wrestling.
Very interesting. So check back in. I think our friend Heather named it best. It wasn't just bad. It was deranged.
It's rare something can be that bad, but not be at least entertaining and kind of good because of how bad. No, it's nonsensical. It's the raving. It's deranged. It's the ravings of a madman that was given control for some reason.
Mm-hmm.
So, Benoit, Malenko, Perry Saturn, and Guerrero all debuted January 31st of the year 2000.
Okay, so yeah, I guess it was
Raw as War as the Radicals with the Z because that makes it hard hitting.
Well, that's very 2000s for you. It's extreme. You got to put a Z on there.
everything's got to have a Z in the 2000s.
Well, hell, the Rascals have a Z
still
now.
do. Yeah, I mean, there's a good amount out there that still does. But that's a fantastic stash. Thank you for that,
Dude,
Austin.
I mean,
Oh,
I don't know if it's
going back.
fantastic because, man, that's bringing back memories of how bad it was.
It was.
Oh, there will be future updates. I'll give you.
I had
the
stopped watching.
lowlights.
I was hardcore, like Jamie. I was a hardcore WCW guy. Their pinnacle was when Goldberg beat Hogan at the Georgia Dome that Monday night. You know, I remember rushing home. I had something I did after school. I can't remember what it was, but I remember rushing home. I had it recorded. Get in there, pop on the TV. Right, I got about halfway through. I got home halfway through the episode, and it was like the Blues winning the Stanley Cup for me. It was such a good moment. Looking back on it, it was terrible because I mean, Karl Malone, the worst diamond cut, but it was like peak.
Karl Malone gonna do a diamond cutter.
Karl Malone gonna do diamond cutter on the outside.
Oh my God, Karl Malone, dude.
But it
He's
was at the
bohemian.
time. It was cool. It was kitschy. It was whatever. It was like the peak. It was pre NWO split. Right. It was the peak of WCW. And then after that, to their fault, but also I think WWS product after that is when it got really good, right? You know, because they'd gone through like the middle 90s part there, and then the beginning of the Attitude Era where they just said, fuck it, we're going to do whatever, right? You know, and they kind of then found that they knew they were going to win. Let's be honest. WWE.
Then they made fun of themselves and made it into an own bit by the right to censor. Like,
Yeah.
that was some of the best stuff. Like, literally made fun of how hard-hitting they were and made a function out of it, and it got over.
I mean, it was just better. It just became better. So, oh, well, tune in. Stay with us. Austin will definitely give us more updates on 99 WCW.
Because Ginger
days.
probably saw him even debuted yet.
How is Vince Russo still involved in wrestling at all?
On a very marginal level. Like, he helps out with a few, like, not great indies, and that's...
I know. But he also has a podcast, which is
Laughable.
horrible.
It
I mean,
is
what's up
weird.
with these guys doing wrestling podcasts, you know?
Oh, fuck.
But at least, like, we enjoy pro wrestling. Like, I don't think Vince
that's
Russo's
fair.
ever enjoyed pro wrestling. He just somehow got a job there and got to hang around for a while.
You know, he's the one who came up with 6-minute abs. That's what happened.
Right, it works great for him. Let's do a harsh transition here, okay?
But
Because
everybody knew 7. 7 was the number.
Sorry,
I popped myself. All right. So
Dynamite. Let's talk about Dynamite.
Dynamite. All right. So Dynamite was the night of okay matches, but it definitely was more of a setup filler type show. Like, I wasn't disappointed in the show, but the matches were kind of lacking, especially after last week with Sheeta's awesome win. Like, that was an excellent women's match. This women's match, honestly, like, was not bad either. It was nice to see Anna Jay putting on a pretty decent match. I think it has a lot to do with her partner, but that's beside the point. Actually, no, it isn't. It's 100% the point. It's who they get paired with, because some of these who are still green with certain still green wrestlers who are in high spots. I'm not naming names. Britt Baker. So where do you guys want to start? Do you want to start with the Jericho Appreciation Society mandatory meeting?
Let's do that.
Can we just say it happened and just move on with our
One
lives?
by one, people walked out, except for Sammy didn't commit to leaving him and whatever.
He didn't commit to committing to leave.
I don't think anyone particularly cares about the Jericho Appreciation Society or anything having like. Okay, cool. Split them up. I did like that Cool Hand Ange and Daddy Magic were still hanging out with Anna Jay later. Like, that's something fun. And they can give Anna Jay a little personality and hopefully some entertainment value. But, like, yeah, JAS should have broken up a long time ago. And can we just be, like, can Jericho go away for a while? Like, he's been doing too much for too long. And, like, what is there that's interesting for him to do?
Right? Like, I agree with that because in the beginning they needed him.
Yeah.
they're at a spot where they are sustainable with their own stars, where he's not necessarily needed anymore, and they're trying just to do stuff to appease him. And I get that, and I'm a Jerichoholic for life, but it's getting old, and so is he.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, consider the source material for sure. There, it feels like Hogan in '99. No, I'm kidding. That's a callback.
Like Hogan and TNA.
You're not entirely wrong.
Oh God, TNA Hogan. We don't get me started on that one. No, but I mean, yeah, it's like, why did we get this? Even if you did it, you didn't need to give it this much time to it. It's just, you're appeasing Jericho for whatever reason because he is Jericho. I get it, right? But to Jamie's point, it's time to. If you have filet mignon every night, you're not going to like filet mignon in 3 months, right? It's just going to be what you eat, And that's kind of how Jericho feels. He just feels like what we eat, right? Whereas pull it back a little bit and we get that Jericho, and then that's that big pop, That's what Jamie gets off of, He's like, oh, it's Jericho, right? Instead of just being force-fed every night in front of our faces. I don't care.
Yeah, and like his biggest asset is he's a character and a personality. You don't need him wrestling all the time. You can have him on commentary. You can have him going up from time to time back, and like start spreading the matches out. Like if you want to give him a match on the pay-per-views 4 times a year, okay, I get that. It's Chris Jericho. He's a big name. He'll be on the Wembley show for sure. But we don't need him just like working with all the younger talent in ring all the time. Just cool him off a bit because we've seen the exact same stuff, just different people getting shuffled in. Jericho.
Jamie's going to hate this reference, just because it's right. But you need to do with Jericho what you're doing with Sting.
No, I don't hate that at all. I think, honestly, I take it a step further, and I would have him transition like Bobby the Brain Heenan did. Bobby used to wrestle.
That's a good point.
He became an amazing, arguably the greatest manager of all time.
Ooh, Jimmy Hart would fight that statement.
Either that, or, and I know this might be a bit of a hot take. I feel like people are fairly even split on the general idea of authority figures in wrestling, but I feel like Dynamite could use that. Like make Jericho the commissioner of Dynamite.
I like that.
The elder vet guy that can still step in there and wrestle when times call for it, and like the story calls for it. Like this is a regular thing to do on the show to interact with these characters, but not always get locked into like longer stories with them.
Yeah,
and then you still get them all the time, and I think that would be great for it.
Yeah, like you could have like a special announcement from Tony Khan. Okay.
Yeah.
And he only blinks 3 times while he talks like for 5 minutes. But like he'd be like, "Hey, I have to take a step back, ladies and gentlemen, but I am leaving Chris Jericho in charge of Dynamite, and I'm leaving blah 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 in charge of Collision. Those guys will take care of everything. I'll still be around, but if you get any kind of announcements, it'll be coming from those 2 guys. That's it." And kind of do it that way. And then he can go be behind the scenes like Vince used to do, and then you have this public figure, authority figure. I like it. I think that's a great idea.
I think it adds structure to the show. And I think that's one of the things with AEW, and not AEW, like more so Dynamite. Collision's been a little bit more of an old school pro wrestling show while still having modern wrestling, not just like an 80s Mid-South show or something. But I think the stuff that does annoy me with Dynamite and stuff like that sometimes are the things like every single week with Britt Baker for an entire year where her henchmen were just coming out. Same thing with like Tony Storm and the Outcasts and all that. If you have an authority figure, you have a storyline reason for someone to come out and be like, hey, people that run and interfere all the time, can't do that tonight. Not going to let you. Like, it allows you to sidestep some of those like plot holes that you kind of find yourself falling into, because who is there to enforce anything? As viewers, we don't know. Apparently nothing gets enforced because people do whatever they want. So like add some structure. And then that also just kind of takes the program in a different direction where, okay, something new, like a new weekly thread and like some new stuff can happen because there's now somebody in charge that's gonna like make some decisions and call some shots around.
Right. There's an ebb and flow to that, just like with Jericho, how he goes from heel to face, heel,
Yeah.
face, So he could be like a heel GM, a face GM, a heel GM, a face GM, right? He could be William Regal one for like 4 or 5 months, and then turn into Eric Bischoff for 3 or 4 months, and then turn to
Exactly. That's why I think he's perfect for that role too, is because Jericho, like as a character and a personality, is kind of an emotional guy. He's not always going to be straight good guy or bad guy. He's going to do whatever Chris Jericho feels like doing at the time. It adds some unpredictability, so you're not locked into like a corporate stooge as your authority figure or the literal boss doing the whole McMahon's thing that they did for 20 years. You've just got, hey, we're putting this guy in charge. What he says goes, and it's Chris fucking Jericho. He could just be messing with people some weeks, like. He could be punishing people. Anything could happen.
Mm-hmm. It has the authority structure of a Waffle House. I 100%
That's the comment
agree.
I've ever heard. Authority structure of a Waffle House. It does. You're 100% right.
Oh man, yeah, no, I think that's an excellent idea for Mr. Chris Jericho. I support that 1,000,000%. I love it 3,000.
Because it ties into the Jericho Appreciation Society. Let's talk about the women's match. Did you feel there was a little bit fan servicey to get a women's main event 2 weeks in a row?
Absolutely.
Well, let's just back up just a hair. Just go with me here.
Okay.
So, Hikaru Shida is our women's champion, yeah.
Yeah.
So they announced some information about her before this match, so this gives context to this match.
Okay, good. Touche. Yeah, we already kind of hinted at it earlier, but go with the announcement. Yeah.
Yes. So this is where I get to gloat that I was 100% right, and I had this whole thing figured out, ladies and gentlemen. And so this is what happened. They decided to do a fatal 4-way at All In. Hopefully it's gonna be elimination style. That's what I said last week. Hopefully everybody's keeping score at home. But then I said it's going to be 2 outcasts to make it 2-on-1 field, Britt Baker and Hikaru Shida on one side, blah, 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 blah. So you have 4 matches set up. You have, 3 matches because Toni Storm gets a bye, which is totally fine with me because she's invoking her champion rematch. But then you have, this week, you had Hikaru Shida versus AJ. Then on Collision, you have Sky Blue going up against Saraya, and then next week you have Britt going up against somebody. Doesn't matter. Bunny, yes, definitely doesn't matter, even though I love Bunny.
See the Bunny coming
No,
back.
it absolutely does matter because the Bunny's back.
Yes.
Great to see the Bunny back.
I'm happy that she's back, but she's a sacrificial lamb. That's all there is to it.
No, she's beating Britt clean. 3 minutes. Call it now.
Ooh.
Okay.
Not seriously, though, because that'll never happen.
Here is your stamp.
Thank you. But I called the Fatal 4-Way, called it 100%. 100%. I said, this is exactly what's going to happen at All In. And what's happening? That's right, ladies and gentlemen. There comes a time in somebody's life where they get sick of being right. I am not at that point. Nor will I ever be.
For the record, I was the one who called the Bucks FTR weeks ago, and you did call me crazy on that. Just saying.
No, I didn't. I didn't call you crazy. I thought that was a great idea.
It's okay. All right.
But you were absolutely right. I'm going to give you credit. See, you were right.
I was right there. Yeah. So yes, but Jamie, in a stroke of
not right.
I mean, it was shocking how right you were on this. Like, we were like, what are we gonna do? What are we gonna do? And like almost immediately they're like, oh, the thing that he just said minutes ago. Let's do that. That's basically what happened.
Do you not remember the Best of 7 series too? Remember how I called that?
That's
exactly
a good point.
every single match, exactly what
you were.
it was.
I think you were just like a mod to come off on that. Like on the very like there was like the stipulation. I think on one of the matches you were slightly off on, and that was like it was freaky.
I'm like, they should just make it a Best of 7 series, and then they did. It's like, that's right. But anyway, the Kuroshita wins.
Okay, so my original question: did it feel a bit fan servicey? A bit like he's trying to cover ground for the embarrassment of 2 weeks ago, right? putting on a terrible Britt Baker match and then having the camera operator pan to book the women's department better, you know? So like, I'll show them. I'm going to do women main event 2 weeks in a row.
Yeah, and that's how you know it's fan servicey, because he booked them in a better spot. He didn't necessarily book them better. Now, Shida winning the title was great.
That was good.
I think the problem with that, though, is it did seem like a knee-jerk reaction, and I don't think the crowd really thought Shida had any chance of winning the title there, and it kind of took them out of the match a little. The pop was there when she won, but it didn't seem like the crowd was watching that thinking it was anything other than, oh, Toni Storm just retains again, but the women get to be in the main this week. The surprise was nice, but I think if you were planning that longer term, you would have been building Shida up a little bit more over the weeks leading up to it. And then this week, yeah, they're in the main event again, which I understand. Okay, there's a title match on the show. Why wouldn't it go in the main? It's your weekly TV. Anna Jay should not be in the main event of a wrestling TV show at any point in time. Maybe in the future. Like,
yeah.
I hope she improves. She's not terrible or anything, but she's
been wrestling for 3 years. They even said it. Like her first match was her first match in AEW.
Yeah, they got put in the main event spot, but like that wasn't really a main event. And I thought it was weird that Shida probably shouldn't have had to struggle that much with Anna Jay a week after cleanly beating Toni Storm and fighting off the rest of the Outcasts to win the title. Like, exactly. Why are you struggling with Anna Jay a week later, who has 2 moves, a suplex and a rear naked choke? That's all she does.
And a really bad high leg.
Just dusted her in like 5 minutes.
But she's got a spinning back roundhouse kick,
which almost always hits.
Yeah.
Because she's got a dance background, which they always tell you. Have you noticed that every single one of her matches? She's got a dance background.
That's because there's nothing else to know about her.
That's fair.
Well, they haven't built shit for her other than that. Her identity has always been Dark Order, JAS, Ty J. You know, her identity has never been about her. She's always been something, a part of something, right? And that's lazy booking for that particular person, but it's the broader issue that we complained about 2 weeks ago about the women department. You know, you don't have any foresight. Even this match, which is painfully obvious, and you called it like you said last week, right? This feels like, and this whole tournament is complete nothingness. Everybody knows the 4 people who are going to be in this match in London.
Mm-hmm.
So again, you have a tournament, like to your point, Austin, that means jack nothing.
Yeah,
and
why?
That drives
and
me
also,
crazy.
Okay, so Toni Storm is enacting her rematch clause, so she gets a bye, but the girl that beat her,
The
for
champion
the title
doesn't?
has to defend the title to get in. Why wouldn't you have Toni Storm invoke her rematch clause for the pay-per-view you have no matches for a week later and say, y'all, 4 of y'all can fight it out. I'm punching my ticket to fight the winner one-on-one. Why would you want a 4-way instead of a one-on-one match? Like, that's where, they're in a better spot, but it's not better booking because they all seem like dummies because no one has any idea of what to do. And it's entirely how they're booked. Your champion should automatically be in the championship match at the pay-per-view without having to defend the title while someone else gets a bye, and also defend the title against someone that they're like clearly going to beat. So why are we doing it there? Have Toni get her rematch clause at All Out, and at All In, do Britt, Shida, and someone else against the Outcasts. Like do a women's trios match to get all them on the show. And you could bring somebody in for this big international pay-per-view to be their third. Whoever you want out there. There's plenty of international women you could bring in. There's Joshis you can bring in. There's a million options instead of a 4-way match that like no one's going to be that excited about. I mean, I'm sure the UK folks like that Soraya's there, but
Jamie, you wanted to, I'm not going to, you go.
Yeah, so you're absolutely right. The thing is like they have an opportunity to surprise us. So if they were smart, which clearly they've shown lately they have not been, I would have the Outcast cost Britt Baker and have the Bunny advance. That would make for something. Then Britt would say, fine, I want Tony or I want whoever screwed me over at All Out. You know, then you could set that up and then you have a one-on-one potentially there. Like, they could do something with this. They're not going to. They're going to give you the 4 women, but they could do that. Or they could double it. Britt comes out on Collision and costs Saraya, which would be absolutely dumb because you want Saraya there because she's an English person, you know, in England. But I think it makes a lot of sense to have the Bunny go over and have them cost it, because then you could create a damn storyline that has some semblance of making sense.
and you know, the thing, the part that rubs me on it is that it's so singularly focused, a lot of this stuff. They're not with all their other, like, to be fair, the other booking he knows how to book, right? This MJF and Adam Cole stuff is great, right? He did one of the best long-term story arcs we've seen in a long while, right? Was the Hangman, you know, story arc. Now, once he got there, he had didn't know what to do with him, but still, the build was great, right? There's others that are out there. It's not like he doesn't know what to do and you know, get there. But when it comes to women, it's like it's a different set of rules. Just do the same thing with them. You do with the other, it's to do the same thing. It's like it's not. You don't have to do something different just because they got boobies. Okay, just do the same thing. And you know, I think that, you know, you think singular focused. The plan was probably always to be Tony Storm versus Jamie Hayter 3-4, whatever it is, right? And that would have torn the roof off naturally, right? You know, at Wembley. But Jamie Hayter's hurt. They take the belt off her. Cool, right? Now we don't know what to do. So I think if he had his druthers, he'd have Mercedes Martinez or Julia, right? Mercedes Martinez is hurt. Julia can't do All In because she's booked somewhere else for Stardom. Well, what do I do? Just fall back, you know, on this shit instead of actually try to build a story for something else, right? It's like you're selling selling everything for like a one shot and not worrying about what happens afterwards.
Yeah, and like Hayter's been injured for a long time now. So like you don't really get the excuse of, well, that changed plans. Clearly you want Hayter in your women's championship match at Wembley if you can have it, but that's been out the window for a long time.
Yeah.
Here's an interesting thing I actually just thought of about this match. So you got a 4-way. Saraya is definitely going to make it there because she's from the UK. I don't think they're that confident in how much of a draw she's going to be, though, seeing that they're in a 4-way and not just building up to a singles. Like, I don't think they're that confident. I mean, the UK audience will probably give her a pop on the entrance because hometown girl and stuff, but like, you would think if they were higher on Saraya, especially being in the UK, it would be a singles match for the title. Nope, in a 4-way. And again, like, I hope she doesn't win it there. She has no business holding that title, but they've kind of booked themselves into a weird corner where, what do you do with the title? Like, does Sheeta drop it? Does Sheeta just carry it for 3 weeks, then go back into obscurity? Because you're going to tear down someone you just built up, a new kind of women's main event player. I know she held the title in the past, but like it's been a while since she was really up at that level. So you either have to do that, or she defends it in the 4-way and then retains, and then kind of the bigger names that your UK fans kind of know, which is why, Jamie, I like your idea. I'm 100% behind the Bunny winning. I don't think there's any chance it happens.
Oh, no.
I think they do consider Britt's one of their stars and main attractions. She's going to be on the show as well. But you're still stuck in this weird 4-way. There's not really a good result of that 4-way that anyone's going to be super hyped about. The match is not going to be great with Saraya in there dragging it down.
And Britt.
I would probably agree with you on that, although I do think there are big match opportunities where Britt can keep up and like.
Yeah.
She has it in her. Jamie has talked about this a lot over
Yeah.
the past like month here. That she has it in her. It's just lately, not so much.
She's kind of checked out.
She wrestles like she knows it's fake. And like, it's fine. It's not bad, but it takes you out of it because at no point does she look like she's trying to convince you she's really worried about winning or losing or like being in athletic competition. No, she's wrestling like she knows this is a show, and it could be worse, but it's also not dragging you in. And I think with Britt, it kind of goes back to what you were saying about Tony not knowing what to do when he gets there. You had a long run of her being the heel champion with her lackeys cheating all the time. And ever since she dropped the title, like, there's been no reason to be interested in Britt Baker.
No.
Like, her entrance is still over. People are still at least interested in her walking out, twirling around, and going DMD. But give us a reason to give a shit after that. Like, I don't want to dislike when Britt Baker's on my TV, but they're not giving her anything interesting to do, and she's not making the things she does interesting. So,
She just may need some time off, man.
probably just like Jericho. Like you kind of carried the women's division. Sort of. As the champion, you carried it for a year. Now, she had other people bringing good matches out of her, but I think after those long runs, you do need some time just away. Oh, I see the light bulb above your head.
Yeah, it
like
blew the fuck up.
yeah.
You said make Jericho an authority figure for Dynamite. Who would you put in front of Collision? I don't know. Maybe the Doctor.
I can see that.
Her best stuff was during the pandemic when she broke her leg, right? Like, that's when we found out, like, holy shit, this woman can talk, right? The whole Michael Jordan bit, right? You know, I am Michael Jordan, and, you know, the role model and all these things that she still kind of tries to play off of, right? Came up from her just with a broken leg in a wheelchair talking. So I could see her as the authority figure, the commissioner, the whatever you want to call it, on Collision.
Absolutely, because that kind of plays off her character as a champion. It's the person that's like mad with power they probably don't really deserve, because you knew she wasn't winning and keeping that title on her own, but she gets to walk around like the big dog because she has it. Like, yeah, I actually think that's a great role. And like, I mean, Heather even just put it in the chat. Not only does she wrestle like wrestling's fake, she wrestles like it's boring to her. Cool. Don't wrestle outside of one-offs. You know, every once in a while you get a story.
Yeah, her pay-per-view and her match, cool, right?
Yeah, like
great.
I actually really like the idea of Britt for commissioner of Dynamite. All right, collision.
Or whatever. Put one on one and one on the other. Who cares?
Yeah.
Yeah, it just like Britt used to not do this. I think she was like anybody who's been at a job a long time who hasn't had time off. She's just burned out. I bet that's what it is. She needs some time away, recharge the batteries completely, you know. And the bad thing is her husband or boyfriend is coming back now, like, and getting hot now, and she's burned because she had to carry for so damn long. Yeah, give her something to recharge the batteries. Step away or become a commissioner. Absolutely love it.
Yeah.
So let's move on. Let's talk some tag team matches, because there was a decent one of two old guys. And the Young Bucks.
It was old guy night on Dynamite.
Dude. So what did you think of that match, guys?
It was a match that I liked seeing in ROH about like 7 years ago when it happened the first time.
Big same. Absolutely in agreement on that. I don't want to see either of the Hardys wrestling on TV in 2023. They're just...
It's time.
Yeah, like, time just catches up to you, especially the styles they both work. And it's... Every once in a while, as a nostalgia thing, you want to trot them out there for, like...
Right.
You know, beat up Daddy Magic and Cool Hand Ange in 4 minutes and like get the entrance, get the little pop, but like it kind of takes away what you've seen from them for the last 3+ decades, because they were showing up doing jobs on Superstars back in 1994. So yeah, we're 30 years. like time's caught up, and I don't like seeing them not being able to really do the stuff they used to do. And they were never big entertainment character guys. I know Jeff like was a very interesting character, but for how he moved and what he did in the ring, like they weren't the best talkers. They weren't drawing you in with promos. It's time to not see the Hardys wrestle on TV anymore.
Yeah. To your point, Heather, Matt has said before in several interviews that he views this as their like kind of like their swan song, right? He knows that this is their end run, basically.
Time to take old Yeller out back to pasture.
I think it would have been
Doesn't count.
better if their swan song was a couple years back when they surprise showed up at WrestleMania for a quick tag match.
Right.
That would have been a good time to like tip your cap and call it a day.
Yeah.
But yeah, like Hardys versus Young Bucks in 2023, it's just okay. It happened.
It was a thing. It was a fan servicey thing. There's only 4 matches tonight, by the way, too.
Yeah.
That was surprising. Like, thought at least would have gotten like a squash or two in there. But
Yeah, not even any squashes whatsoever. You know, we just had some old dudes. You know, again, old dudes. Get alive. Like, yeah. So these guys are gone, and then okay. So after that, you had FTR come out. They officially set up FTR versus the Bucks at All In. Somebody called that. There was a little sign pointing.
We're pointing at the sign here.
It's sign pointing season, ladies and gentlemen, for AEW, because we're getting to that point. So they have really ramped up the sign pointing, and this was the first of many instances where that happened. After that, you had probably my favorite moment of the entire night, and I'm not even gonna lie. The video segment of MJF and Adam Cole. I died.
Are you
laughing
so in
hard.
on this now, Austin? Because this is fantastic.
so I did not catch tonight's segment. I had the show up, but I was also balls deep in playing Baldur's Gate 3 while I was watching it. And I was in the middle of getting my ass kicked by a boss, and I missed that. I will say, generally speaking, though, I still don't like the goofiness around the world title. But the story itself, because like previously I was kind of on the side of there's not a good way to get out of this. And I still think there's some like problems there. But the MJF, is he legitimately becoming a changed man because he has a friend? They have done a better job of like selling that maybe he is turning into a face. I still don't know if the double switch works though, just because it goes back to I saw his promo about his insecurities growing up, and like that was like kind of a good moment for turning him a face a bit. But at the end of the day, if MJF gets absolutely stabbed in the back, which I don't know, I wasn't here last week, but we saw the hug with the Adam Cole, we kind of know it's coming now. The absolute worst thing they can do to MJF in a storyline context, from everything he's done in AEW up till this point, would still not be like justice of what he deserves for being the biggest piece of shit in the company for years.
Right.
That's what holds me up, is that just kind of turn on a dime, like, all right, sorry guys, I got bullied growing up, but I found a friend now, so I'm kind of a good guy. Like, well, you're still calling yourself the devil. In the middle of that promo, you still said, hey, I'm still a scumbag.
Yeah.
But it's gotten better every week. And like I said, the entertainment value is there. So
Well,
I'm optimistic. MJF and Adam Cole are phenomenal performers. I think they'll do something good and interesting, and it's definitely suckered me in more.
I see way out, but Jamie, why don't you tell them about the promo that they cut, because
Yeah, so
The
this
video.
promo is definitely the "I can't quit you" moment. For me, it is ridiculous. So basically, MJF and Adam Cole are like in this dark area talking, and Cole's like, "Hey," like MJF's like pitches, "Hey, we should go skinny dipping or whatever," blah blah blah. And then Cole turns to him. And Cole suggests, "What about a trampoline park?" And he points to the side of the trampoline park. So again, sign pointage. So they go in there, and Adam Cole's is jumping, having the greatest damn time.
Look
of
how
his life.
high! Look how high I could go! Look how high I could go!
And then MJF's like, Jesus, just kill me. And then he just, when it's time, like they have games and stuff, like when it's time like to do games, he grabs this dodgeball and he goes full Billy Madison. And like there's a whole bunch of these little kids, and they show him just chucking the damn ball at these kids. Like obviously they'll show him hitting,
They
but they show these
edited it
kids
to
like
make it
boom,
look
getting hit in the
right.
face or hit the chest really hard. Oh man, it's absolutely great. And then
I love the
Cole
commentary he threw in there with it too. It was fantastic.
Yeah, like, but Cole tries to get him to stop, and he tells him, you know, just one more. And it's like, no, no, no. And then, like this little girl flips him off, and then Cole's like, okay, one more. And then chucks it at her. It's so damn good. One of the best damn things I think I've seen.
But the commentary, like while it's going on, you heard it wasn't like super loud, but it was kind of like in the background. You know, he's just like, you're adopted. Boom. You know, he's like, yeah, I slept with your mom. Boom.
Best MJF. So damn good.
So that's a good. Let's keep talking about MJF and Adam Cole then, because then they had a promo a little bit later on. We'll skip it. We'll come back to that match. How about that?
Yeah. Oh, you're talking about the don't want to do a promo off, but ended up becoming kind of a promo off, and MJF like just started just going after him a little bit, like promoing him. It's like that's not what I want.
You're so what was it? You're so white. You're so pale and dry.
Yeah, your Cole is so white and pale that if it was in his 80s like Hogan. Yeah, Hogan snorted him. Yes, that's it. You're so pale and white. If it was the 80s, Hogan would have snorted you. That's what he said.
I love. Stop right there. Go to commercial. We're done. I mean, that's just like boom.
But
But
it's a hell of a drug.
talking about the match and they're jarring a little bit. They're going back and forth, right? But we get they're broing it up, right? That's the whole long story of this here, right? But we get, and this is my counterpoint to what you said a little bit ago, Austin, because we get Roddy coming out here. Sad, depressed, whiny Roddy, still in the goddamn neck brace.
No rascal.
No rascal.
No rascal.
No rascal. That's right, Heather. He did, yes. The rascal. Well, he had to check the rascal before he could come out on stage.
I wish he would always do it like Vicky Guerrero did for a while, where she was always coming out of the rascal. Like, make it his gimmick.
I mean, we got to have a Roddy rascal, you know.
Make Roddy on the Rascal the commissioner of Rampage. Now we got every shit covered.
I mean, I saw Roddy's Rascal. I'm afraid to post that online. But hey, what else?
That's probably a smart decision, Jamie. But he sent it to me in Austin, and boy, was it great. But no, he comes out. He's whiny, super whiny, right? You know, overselling it a bit, and MJF just digs into him. It was very good. You know how much he's digging into him. It ends up going, you know, talking about what he does what every other, you know, every other like basic white person does or whatever, you know, go to your house, go up in your room, lock your door, cry on your Hello Kitty pillow, turn on your Taylor Swift, and then just shake it off, you bland bitch.
Yes. And he called him a simp. Don't forget he called him a simp.
I'm a simp too, right? To wit, the Kingdom make their return again to comfort Roddy on the stage, and that angers Adam Cole. Shoves MJF, says that you're my friend, but he's my friend too. And you can see the fire build in MJF's eyes, right? So my disagreement comes with this, Austin, is that I think they can do the full switcheroo because they're keeping it somewhat of a vacuum anyway, right? Yes, he's done terrible things. He even tried to whole shoot back on the Midwestern is mid comment he made the last time they were in Columbus, at the beginning of the promo. But I think that he can't walk back from all the dirty shit he's done. I feel like though, having Cole turn on MJF, you keeping it in somewhat of a vacuum of the two of them, along with Roddy and a little bit of stuff, I think it will work. I bought into this a couple weeks ago. I'm on board with the double switcheroo, but I don't think it's like I said. I don't think it's going to go full face, and I don't think Cole's going to go full heel. After it'll happen, and why'd you do that? It's because somebody had to take care of that man. Somebody had to do it. And if I gotta be the bad guy to take down the even worse guy, right? So be it. One of those things.
Do I need to be the bad guy, Chico? All right, so let's move on to what I was very surprised in seeing, and that is the FTW champion, JBJP, Dylan McKay going up against Rob Van Dam. Rob Van Dam could still effing go.
Surprise of the night for me.
Jesus.
I was surprised because I thought last week when he walked out to confront JBJP, I thought he looked rough. He was walking like Matt Hardy down to the ring. Maybe it was just the baggy shirt he was wearing, but last week he looked real rough, and he did not look rough tonight.
I mean, 2
He
minutes
looked like
in,
he
he does
did
that. He does
10
that
years ago.
2 minutes ago, he does that spin flip from the apron onto Jack Perry hanging over the rail. And it was even popped Taz on commentary. It's good when the commentaries break. Oh shit! Yeah.
Yeah, his leg drop. He hit a Van Daminator. He hit a beautiful 5-star. Definitely doesn't go near as far as it used to, but he definitely got the height on his 5-star.
Roll Thunder onto a chair on top of him.
Dude still got it.
And what are your thoughts on? I felt, first of all, I loved this match more than I ever thought I would.
Same.
But I felt that Jack Perry was great in this match too.
Yep.
Just don't let him talk, and you got something here because he's got a good look now. The music we're still iffy on, right? It's the Beethoven.
I don't think it fits.
Beethoven was funny for a hot minute. Okay, cool, right? Give him something else. But his look was great, right? I think he performed fantastic in the heel fashion. Putting over RVD in the right spots and don't let him talk, and you have something. Because I really liked Jack Perry actually in this match.
So did I.
That's hard to say. I know.
I don't even mind his talking since he's become a heel. He's not, gonna be a legendary promo guy, but being the shitty entitled brat is better than just being the random guy that's friends with a dinosaur.
Yeah.
And it's not. I don't think his talking as a heel, it doesn't take away from the show. Doesn't necessarily add a lot to it. But it gets the job done, and I'm fully on board with heel Jungle Boy Jack Perry. Jungle Man. He's great.
Jungle Man. Jungle Man.
If he should come out to any music, it should be to the theme of 90210.
Oh.
I'd be all right with that.
Oh,
It would be perfect.
great.
Dun-dun-dun-dun, dun-dun-dun-dun, kick. Come on.
I'd be down for that.
So meta. I love it.
Here's a fun question. Do y'all think Jungle Man makes it onto All In?
Yes.
Not
this match
like
will get a
Battle
rematch.
But
This will be a
in
rematch.
You what?
0 hour. This will be a 0 hour rematch.
I was surprised they didn't just straight up do this in All In, especially after seeing Rob Van Dam still performing at that level, because I think that's a good name to throw on your big show that people will tune in to see. But I wouldn't mind seeing Jungle Boy maybe it's a 0. Now I keep pitching trios matches for All In, but I feel like there's going to be a lot of just pack a bunch of people with some shit. Maybe do a one night throw heel Christian and Luchasaurus out there with Jungle Boy to take on RVD, probably Hook, and whoever else you want to throw in as a third on that team. It'd be a fun little 0-hour match.
Somebody else somehow related to Taz in some fashion.
Yeah, some ECW.
Or
Is the Sandman still out there? Can he travel across the ocean?
Yeah, it's a trios match. Jerry Lynn's probably a little too beat up. I think you could throw Taz out there to, throw a couple punches in a trios match and like lock in a submission or something. Doesn't have to be him, but there's plenty of people out there like ex-ECW guys that I know they're all getting a bit older these days, but and doesn't even have to be ECW. You got a couple weeks to throw someone else whoever you want to feud for the TNT title, Luchasaurus, throw them in that match too.
Wardlow.
Wardlow would be great. Please do anything with Wardlow. Anything. Anything with Wardlow, I'd be here for. Throw him in the women's tournament 4-way. I don't care. Just something with Wardlow.
Wardlow just annihilates Rio on national TV.
Actually,
let's go.
give me Wardlow versus Sheeta at All In. I bet that match would be fun.
It'd be a lot. Yeah,
a lot of fun. I'm not gonna lie.
What you think.
I know that we found out things about her and is whatever. But I remember like Impact Wrestling, before AEW, Tessa Blanchard and Brian Cage. Oh my God, that match fucked so hard.
It was probably the first intergender match that was ever like on a show I was booked on that I saw live. That wasn't like a gimmicky one because you've always had the
gimmicks and
guy gets beat by a girl because he's getting too
scrambles or whatever too stuff. Yeah.
The first and probably to this day still the best intergender match I've seen was at Inspire Pro down in Austin, Texas. They booked Keith Lee versus Angelus Lane, and I've always been a little bit more towards intergender wrestling. Not don't do it, but give me a story behind it. Like, give me a reason. But that match, like, the psychology was there, the intensity was there. They tore that shit down, and it was probably the best intergender match I've ever seen to this day.
Right. Intergender done right is fantastic. Heather gives another fantastic example. Lucha Underground, Io Shirai and Penta. They had a feud. They had a series of matches. That was fantastic.
Yeah. And like I said, intergender has always been one of those things to me, like, if you give me, just build a story around it, like, why? Because it is a novelty. Or, on the other hand, go the opposite direction and then just present your show as this is like live action Mortal Kombat, like, everyone can beat up everybody.
Gender doesn't matter, right?
Yeah.
It's one of the things that Effie always preaches. If you ever watch Effie talk about during his like Twitch streams when he does Monday Night Raw, right? Is like gender's a construct. It doesn't matter, right?
Yeah.
It's not intergender wrestling. It's just wrestling.
Yeah. But in the same vein, you're still telling a story on your show and like you're building this universe. So if you want to build your TV show universe where, hey, 5'0" Riho could go out there and fight Lance Archer and hang in like this is a video game.
That'd be hilarious.
Tell me, like, build that into the presentation. Let me know that's what's going on, and I'm bought in. But I think more often than not, people have to understand what they're seeing beyond their biases they're going to have. And if you've got people tuning in and they see you've got a men's champion and a women's champion, or even if it's not like you don't have divisions, even if it is a show, indies do this a lot of time where they'll just throw intergender matches out there without any story, but you're going to have people in the crowd that think the dude's just going to beat up the girl, and that doesn't have to happen in wrestling, but just present it in a way where I understand that coming in to watch, like, hey, no, that's, when Tessa Blanchard was a champion of Impact. No, that's Tessa Blanchard. She's a champion. She can beat the shit out of anyone here. Okay, cool. Build that in. Let me know that, and I'm here for it. But, like, I think in wrestling, the more often, kind of like we talked about before with, like, blood and guts and other gimmick matches and novelty stuff, when you do stuff too often just to do it, it's just not as exciting as it used to be. Whereas, like, I would love to watch a show that would, like I said, present it like a live-action Mortal Kombat where, hey, if you're in Mortal Kombat, Sonya Blade could beat the shit out of Johnny Cage because it's a video game and they're all equal characters and stuff. Cool. Present it that way and it would be rad. Like, that would be a fun show to watch.
That's a pay-per-view. There's your pay-per-view right there, guys.
Like
AEW Combat. AEW Combat. People qualify for it. However you get qualified, and then you do Wheel of Death, the lethal lottery, and A versus B go. You know?
Yeah, that would be fun.
That'd be a
awesome.
fantastic pay-per-view.
Yeah, just
we went off the rails there a little bit. So
We did, and there was video just recently. I'm trying to find it.
I see you deep in your search. Look, you're digging. I could tell when Jamie's
I saw
digging.
like Tessa Blanchard went against Pentagon or somebody.
It was at
Republic
Lucha Underground. Lucha Underground had a live show outside their shop in L.A. and it was
Republic of Lucha. Republic of Lucha.
Sorry. Lucha. Republic of Lucha. And yeah, it was Tessa versus Pentagon. Was it Pentagon?
I think so, wasn't it?
I
don't remember who it was.
Yeah.
But so she's kind of making her circles. Like, if she can mend fences, like if people give her a fifth chance, you never know.
Well, it's like I said this about her in the past, right? You know, I said about people as well. Like, I'm the eternal optimist. I'm willing to give you another chance, right? You know, but you keep getting chances, and you keep shoving that boot in there and showing us who you really are. That's different, but you know. We'll see.
Her old man isn't too terribly well liked among pro wrestling circles either, so maybe it just kind of runs in the family.
It very well could
be. He worked at AEW for a hot minute. All right, so let's move on swiftly from that. So we had the Lucha Bros going against Blackpool Combat Club of Jon Moxley and Claudio. So I missed it, and I'm sorry. I think I went on a pee break, but when I came back and I already saw, like, when the match started, I saw the ref with gloves already on.
Moxley bled about 90 seconds after the bell.
Okay, so I was wondering if she put the gloves on before the match started, just knew it was going to happen.
Might as well at this point.
And then it's funny, because after he was getting up and going to the ringside, you know, that I thought it was even better. You know, you have oh God, why do I have such problem remembering his name? Fuck me.
Wheeler Yuta?
No. On commentary, the guy in the mask.
Excalibur?
I don't know. It's the fourth time. I can't remember Excalibur's names. I just think Man in the Mask. I think William Regal has brainwashed me. Excalibur even made the comment, well, it is a day that ends in Y.
I mean, he's even in on the bit. He's even in on the bit, as he should be. Everybody should be committed to the bit.
He's become Tony Schiavone when Russo took over 99 WCW. Like, not outwardly mocking the show.
Well, we have just
but, like,
full
you can
circled
kind of read
here,
the
guys.
lines of the comments like, this is getting a little silly.
Oh, yeah. Jesus.
This match was fun. It wasn't the smoothest that these guys have had, though.
The best was the ending when they took off Penta's mask, and then Claudio kept wearing it around. That was amazing. That was the best part of the match.
Was just brilliant. I loved it.
So,
especially, I looked away from my computer for a second and looked back, and it was like zoomed in on his face, and I was like, wait, that's not Penta.
Oh,
and
yeah.
then I was like, oh, wait, Claudio's just wearing his mask for some
It took him a minute because Claudio's a big son of a bitch, so he's keep trying to like undo more and more straps in the back. Nope, didn't fit. Nope, didn't fit. He keeps pulling out the string. Finally fits, and it was fine. It was fine. We did get
to see the BCC fighting not the elites for a few weeks now.
Yep.
Like, this has been a nice change.
yeah.
I mean, they're fighting everybody else.
Yeah,
They're going to go against the House of Black here shortly.
I think
that will be glorious.
I wouldn't mind seeing just a straight up trios at All In, but I think House of Black, Death Triangle, and BCC in a three-way trios would
It's not
be
gonna
just
be Death Triangle because Pac's
Well,
injured.
Well, yeah, be Andrade subbing in.
okay. I didn't realize Pac got injured.
I
Yeah,
found that
you
out
gotta
tonight.
check it.
Yeah, apparently he's injured again. Poor Pac.
Yeah, it's unfortunate.
He needs
So good shit.
he needs hot ice. It's where you heat up the ice.
He needs to get him a Roddy Rascal.
He does.
One thing we missed when we were talking about MJF and Adam Cole is that they did basically announce that. So for All In, they're not only main eventing the show, they're going to go after the ROH tag titles on 0 Hour.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, I completely forgot about that.
Which is a way to put Aussie Open on your show. I don't know if I love the idea, though, of them fighting in a tag match to start the night and then end it. I'm split. I don't know. It is what it is.
Yeah, I don't like it. I don't like it. But
So, yeah, because you're kind of, once again, and it seems like a reoccurring thing with AEW, and it always works out okay. Like it's rarely bad, but you're kind of booking yourself into a corner here, because either they win the ROH tag titles, and then if you are doing a backstab turn, they are still the tag team champions of this other brand you don't pay a lot of attention to, or they lose on 0 Hour, and then they're your main event later on.
Well, they lose on 0 Hour, I think, is the way to add fuel to the main event without putting a ton of preheat, because they're printing money selling shirts. I mean, they have a white variant now that looks amazing. They're printing money selling shirts. And you don't want to fuck it up too much before the pay-per-view. So this is my opinion. I believe this is a way for them to put that quick heat on them the same night, right? To make that match spicy.
And I kind of wish All In had a bigger attraction match to main event the show that's not the AEW title match, because you can't not have a finish in the main event title match of your big international pay-per-view. But if you had something bigger to put on last, you could do something where Punk comes down and then you don't have an actual winner, and then a week later at All Out, you do Punk, MJF, and Cole or something.
Well, it's funny you say that, because of everything that was announced in Excalibur's 30-second hyperventilation moment, next Wednesday is a sit-down one-on-one interview that's going to air between Jim Ross and Kenny Omega, where Kenny's going to share his plans for All In.
when he's getting announced, he's facing off against Will Ospreay. We already know.
Omega Ospreay, that's your ender. You know, that's if you want something else, there you go.
I think I would rather see that and see that main the show, because that gives you more flexibility in that title match. Because you can hold off the turn.
It's Ospreay in Wembley.
Yeah. I still think it's going to end up being Kenny and Takeshita. But Ospreay and Kenny is the much bigger match, obviously.
If it's that way, because then we know it's going to be Ospreay and Jericho, and that just pisses me off.
And I think that's the way they're going.
Unless Jericho says no, and then him and Takeshita have a match at All In, then it allows you to have Ospreay, Omega, and then at All Out, maybe you could do the Takeshita Omega match.
We do another pay-per-view a week later. That's a good point.
I think I selfishly would just rather see Kenny versus Takeshita, because I want to see Takeshita get that big event, big match elevation that I think he's ready for. I think you can instantly make a star. Not that Takeshita isn't trending that way very quickly, but
He's ridiculous.
That's a platform for him to like truly shine, and for your audience to be like, oh, that is straight up a main event guy now. But also Kenny and Ospreay would just absolutely slap for a third time. So like, that.
I hate to say it, it's low-hanging fruit. It's Ospreay in Wembley, like I said. That's easy booking. I mean, I'm sorry.
You got to think about the pay-per-view buys. For me, you're a good amount, but when you say Omega versus Ospreay 3 versus Omega versus Takeshita, yes, I want to see Takeshita. I want that match for the same reasons
3 years. Takeshita will be that top liner. Yes.
I don't even think it's gonna be that long. But I think pay-per-view buys, especially there, I think Ospreay makes a sense there, then you have it over here, then that gets you the buys for Takeshita here in the States too. So like it's a win-win if you do it that way, in my opinion.
I'm not sure how many extra pay-per-views Osprey and Omega actually sells. Like, who's still on the fence about this pay-per-view that's going to drive them over the line? You've already sold 80,000 tickets. Your pay-per-views are always good. I mean, it may. I could be completely wrong on that, but I almost feel like it's one of those things that like people want to see this event already as it is.
You could put Bozo the Clown up there going against
I think
the Gobbledygooker, and
if they were doing Osprey and Omega, I feel like they would have announced that or started like planting seeds and building that a lot earlier, because now you're at the point like you've basically sold out the building, and yeah, it could drive some more pay-per-view buys, but I think it's probably going to do real well regardless. I would imagine most people that are like remotely interested are watching this paper.
Last thing on this before we move to our culmination of sign season is, don't forget how big of a mark Tony Khan is. He's having the biggest wrestling show of all time, right? Attendance, what matches he want to see? Maybe Omega Osprey 3. Just saying.
I mean, at least either way, there's really not a bad option for Kenny Omega. Either way, the match is going to slap.
Kenny Omega is just in general.
Because I think a Omega Takeshita match would be at least 85% as good as Omega and Osprey. I think Takeshita is capable of that.
I do too, actually.
I think he is. Like, remember his match against Danielson? How good that was.
Dude, he's so good.
We're splitting hairs. Like either way, like we get chocolate cake, or sorry, we get white cake, or we get yellow cake. You know, whatever. You know, you get whatever kind of cake you want right there. It's still cake, and it's still gonna be delicious.
I just really hope they don't do Osprey and Jericho.
Same season.
Like, what a waste of an Osprey match.
I mean, absolutely. Give me Osprey Takeshita, for God's sake. Shit. Give me Osprey Takeshita Omega 3-way.
Holy shit.
let's fucking go, right? We're going to Fantasy Booking Island. Let's go all the way.
Yeah, that would be amazing.
That would be so silly.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah. That would sell more pay-per-views.
Hold me. Yeah, I need that kind of moment. All right. So let's move on to, I saved this one for the end, just because it is sign pointing season. We already kind of talked about it. Swerve Strickland came out with his Embassy Mogul Embassy, whatever. And was I the only one who saw Khan looking less than thrilled to be there? Like, everybody else is like, oh yeah, doing their thing. And this mother is just like, man, just sucks. He just had that pissed off look the entire time he was there.
Well,
Am I the only one who saw that?
I didn't even pay attention to Khan, I hate to say.
I mean, that's probably why he had that pissed off look on his face.
Yeah, he just kind of looked like generic bad guy that was with the rest of the bad guys.
Yeah. Like, he was like irritated.
And like, he's a talented dude. He's got a good look. But yeah, he just kind of looked like background guy number 3.
Yeah, he doesn't exactly have a whole lot of personality either. Like,
that's why I like him in a tag team.
I'm not gonna lie, like the whole like mogul embassy thing, it works for me with Swerve, AR Fox, and maybe Prince Nada. That's the sentence.
Yeah.
Like, Gates of Agony and Brian Cage, as much as I love Brian Cage, I like like what we got last week from Swerve and AR. I love that. I want this, renegade hip hop gang mentality, right? That's cool. This just kind of feels like that plus some other guys.
Yeah. I just want more Brian Cage and Big Bill as a tag team.
Yes, that's
That's all I want.
fantastic, right?
Yeah.
They should just call themselves the Meaty Men, and that's it.
I'd be down for that. I'd be down for that. And then send Khan and Tama back to Ring of Honor to go do shit over there. And then you've got Swerve, AR Fox. You can keep Prince Nana around, but like flesh them out with two other guys. And
or not even. Or maybe take it naturally. Maybe add a guy down the road if he fits. I just think.
I feel like AEW, everyone's got to have like a group.
Yeah, the factions. But they call it Darby Allin, though, Jamie.
They sure did. And Darby's like, oh, blah, blah, blah. I'm Darby Allin, and it's not fair. I called you. You just didn't pick up, man.
Yeah,
like,
no,
whatever. It was so dumb.
It was not bad. It was not good. Not good.
It was not good. But he's like, I have friends too. So I thought, oh, great, we're going to have multiple friends, right? No, it was just singular friend. And it's always the same person, Sting. And of course, you had his baseball bat. He beat up the Gates of Agony. Then he hit Swerve in the leg or whatever, and then picked him up by the chin with his bat, and then pointed at the sign with the bat.
I did like Sting hitting Brian Cage in the nuts with the bat.
I was
that was pretty funny how he set that up. Like he just kind of tapped him with it.
Did you see Prince Nana just getting kicked straight in the head by like bam?
I get the bat gimmick, but I always hated the Sting hold the bat at the throat. And I was never much of a baseball player myself, but I've watched enough of it to know that like a bat or any long blunt object, if you were just statically holding it against somebody, that weapon is not dangerous anymore.
You have negated the effectiveness of your object.
Why did Swerve not just put his hand on the bat? Because now you're just in a tug of war with a 63-year-old man that you're probably going to win, instead of this blunt object just gingerly touching your chest.
It's wrestling. It's not logic. It's wrestling.
Like
Sting just moderately debuffed his own, attachments. It's not a big deal. Okay.
Just run by Mox, find some barbed wire. He's got some somewhere. Wrap that shit around the bat. Now it's dangerous in all planes of motion.
This is the same industry where no one knows how to climb a fence at all.
No, nobody can climb a fence
or a ladder.
Or a ladder.
Ladders are the hardest thing to climb. I mean, it takes like I don't know how long these wrestlers take putting up Christmas lights every year. It must be a week and a half because I mean it's tough.
Also, when you're putting up Christmas lights, you got more solid ground. With the ladder in the ring, there's some give to it. You got to go extra slow.
Sure.
And pull yourself up to make sure you don't trip over the ladder.
I have some video of ladders on the outside that I'll show you.
It's also a business where you could be literally pinning someone to win a match, and if you see someone 15 feet away who couldn't get there in time to stop it, you'll just get distracted and get up and stop to go look at them.
Yes.
Plus, relationships are a fluid situation.
Yeah. It is also a business where you can't be friends with more than one other guy at a time. Or
Nope. Yeah. Or and one of the worst things is a lot of people struggle with counting to three. Like, that was three. That was three. It was three, ref. That's still one of my favorite things, though. I love it. But here we are, loving it. Yeah, no peripheral vision. Absolutely, Heather. Like, this, like, what? Oh, there's this thing coming at my head. What? Oh,
I got in my peripherals the whole time in my peripherals.
I don't know why that just like I got the mental image of the picture of Kurt Angle with his hands in his pockets looking the other way. So we get Sting and Darbles against
AR and Swerve.
Fox and Swerve, which I would have liked to see like a one-on-one Sting retirement match.
same.
This will still be like they're gonna get Sting on the show no matter what. It's one of those things though, kind of like with Jericho. Like same thing with Sting. You're putting these older guys in with like super young athletic dudes that you're gonna to some degree take away what Swerve and AR Fox do well, which is just like crazy shit all over the ring.
Right.
But it'll be fine. It'll be fun.
And like I said, I get it. I understand. Your biggest wrestling show, you want to have Sting on it. Naturally. Cool, right? Is it taken away from the overall storyline of this whole like AR Swerve versus Darby and whatever thing? Not really. Depends on what they do after all. Because this is, to me, is just more or less we're putting something on the books for All In.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're definitely going to put Darby on there in some regard. You're going to put Sting on there in some regard. It's cool to see Swerve and AR getting their match on the big show. But I still would have rather have seen like a one-on-one Sting match. Probably Sting and Jericho would have been the way to go about it because they can work a better style together. And like have that be Sting's swan song out of active competition because I don't need to see him jump off a ladder again.
Yeah.
And I love the Stinger. I want him around, but like I don't want to see him die in the
Yeah. Oh, it's a coffin match, by the way. I didn't know if you know that or not.
Oh yes, that's a coffin match.
So is it a double coffin? Is it one really big coffin? Is it only one person goes in the coffin? I have so many coffin questions.
Yes.
So you already know the entrance. There's just gonna be one pushed out, and like no Darby, no Sting, and then here is AR Fox and Swerve going, "What's in the box? What's in the box?" Opens up, and there they are, and things just get after it.
Maybe
That's
there's like
what's happening.
coffins littering ringside. They're all over the place. If you get thrown, over
That's
the top,
what I
that'd
would
be
love.
awesome.
Yes, that. Give me that.
That'd be
I
fun.
like that. I like it. I like it.
Well, we got some clarity on All In now. So we've got the MJF, Adam Cole. We've got tag team gold with FTR, Young Bucks, women's four-way, straight out of Jamie's mouth and onto the card. We've got AR Fox and Swerve. AR Fox getting on the biggest wrestling event of all time. Kudos for him. Versus Darby and Sting in the coffin match. And then more to come. We'll see what else they put out there. We'll find out Kenny Omega's thing next week, whatever that may be. Jericho's apparently going to give his decision to Don Callis, too, next week. He's made a decision. He's going to let him know next week. That's another thing, too. Wrestlers can't tell you what they want. They can't answer a question immediately. They have to wait 7 days before they'll tell you the answer to the question.
You want to settle this? Yeah. See you next week.
Do you know what you're going to do? Absolutely. Well, tell us. No, I'll tell you in a week.
I love all the wrestling tropes. They're all so great, though.
Wrestling
Like, that's
tropes
the
are
thing. I love it. I love it, though.
It's good stuff. Final thoughts, guys.
Lots of setup. Decent show. And
Sign.
it's...
Yeah, it was just another episode of TV, kind of moving things along. Like we mentioned earlier, a bit surprising. It was a bit lighter on the wrestling.
Quite a bit lighter.
But yeah, I mean, like I've said several times in the past, I feel like AEW's floor is typically just like an all right 2 hours of TV, and that's not a bad place to be.
Absolutely. Well, I'm just glad they're finally getting stuff booked for All In.
Yeah.
Me too.
Are you done, Jamie?
With my total?
Yes.
Yes, I am.
All right. I've been tallying from what I can catch.
Okay. Some of them are blatantly obvious. Some of them I'm working in.
Oh yeah, the ones I'm working in are the ones I'm afraid of. Austin, have you been tallying as well? You've been keeping track?
I've been keeping a loose mental track. I think I caught like 8.
I have you at 9 is what I caught.
I have 13.
You gave us the number before this show started. Oh my God. Okay. All right. Well, this has been Austin and JJ talk to Spicy Jamie for a couple hours. So thank you guys for joining.
I've been feeling it a little bit today. These typically are the fun shows for me, anyway.
That's good. No, we got but no, we'll find out. Like I said, more next week. This weekend, if you're in Denver, Colorado on Friday night, go to the Lucha Libre and Laughs. It is a fantastic promotion, not just because our friend and colleague here, Austin Reddick, will be on it, as well as his wife, Heidi Howitzer. But it's just a great promotion. It's a good venue. Really well done. It's very friendly too. If you don't go to a lot of like indie shows, it's very friendly. It's a good promotion to go to. And then also Saturday night in Leavenworth, we have wrestling local to Kansas City here. I forget the promotion again. Tell me again.
Heartland Championship Wrestling, their first show. First show. Debut show for Heartland Championship Wrestling.
So yeah, definitely support, as we always say, support independent wrestling. Got some shows going on where you're at. Go check them out. It's worth your time.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, thank you guys for watching. Thank you for listening. We appreciate you giving us your time. Jamie, take us home.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, if you're not down with Total Spotfest, I got 4 words for you. It's sign pointing season.
See you guys next week.
Peace.